R2-D2, Your Highness.
Thank you, R2-D2.
This scene always kinda warmed my heart. Droids get disrespected so often in Star Wars that this is one of the few times where a droid is not only thanked, but praised. Yeah, narratively, this moment is pretty much George Lucas saying, hey, you guys remember R2-D2 from the originals? But it warms my heart, so I'll allow it. Also, what is Panaka looking at when he checks for R2's name? Does R2 have a name tag somewhere? Is his name engraved in Arabic and I just never realized? I'm gonna look this up. I don't believe there's anything on R2's body, so this is just kind of funny.
How'd you end up here with us?
Even though I'm not a huge prequel fan, I do try my best to defend George Lucas whenever I can. One of the major complaints about the prequels was that they were too reliant on CGI. Is this fair? Probably, but we shouldn't ignore all the awesome practical effects that are in this movie. Like, this ship is clearly practical and it looks great. Also, I believe the pod race and some of those shots are miniatures, not straight CGI, and it looks great there too. So I want to give George Lucas the credit he deserves.
Padme, clean this droid up as best you can.
Also, I just realized that the fake queen just sent the real queen to go clean the droid. In hindsight, this is pretty funny. Was Padme pissed? I'd be pissed. I don't want to clean a dirty ass droid. I'm the damn queen.
To attract attention.
Wait. Did you guys hear that? I can't be hallucinating, but that sounds like Kylo Ren's theme. Huh.
Her Highness commands you to take her handmaiden with you.
No more commands from my Highness today.
I really admire this trait in Padme. It's very easy for a leader to sit back and let their highest in command put themselves in danger. Tatooine, as Obi-Wan described it, is full of scum and villainy. But that doesn't bother Padme. She wants to go with Qui-Gon and Jar Jar to investigate. Even though Qui-Gon is right that it's probably not the smartest idea to bring a rather attractive girl to a city like Mos Espa, I still admire the character moment from Padme.
The few spaceports like this one are havens for those that don't wish to be found.
Like us.
I think this movie made a critical mistake here, and that was sending Qui-Gon on this quest instead of Obi-Wan. I firmly believe that Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon's relationship with Anakin should have been switched. Remember, the climactic fight of this trilogy is supposed to be Anakin versus Obi-Wan. When Obi-Wan talks about how Anakin was his brother, we should have seen that all the way from the beginning of the trilogy. In The Phantom Menace, Anakin and Obi-Wan do not have any sort of relationship. Had Obi-Wan been the one wanting to defy the Council and train Anakin, I feel it would have made the relationship far stronger. If Obi-Wan made an active decision to train Anakin instead of just doing it because he promised Qui-Gon, then he would have a much more personal stake in the events of Revenge of the Sith. It could have been a plot point that Yoda and the other Jedi sensed danger in Anakin, but Obi-Wan ignored all of that and knew he had to train the boy. And when Anakin turns to the dark side, it's that much harder on Obi-Wan because it was solely his choice to train Anakin, and he failed, not the choice of Qui-Gon's. And then this decision would have made the inevitable Obi-Wan show much better. Now, some may argue that Qui-Gon's relationship is important to Anakin, because the point Dave Filoni made was that Qui-Gon was a father to Anakin and Obi-Wan was a brother. Anakin needed a father, not a brother, and that's the reason why he turned to the dark side.
What's at stake is really how Anakin's going to turn out. Because Qui-Gon is different than the rest of the Jedi, and you get that in the movie, and Qui-Gon is fighting because he knows he's the father that Anakin needs. Because Qui-Gon hasn't given up on the fact that Jedi are supposed to actually care and love, and that that's not a bad thing. And that's why it's the duel of the fates. It's the fate of this child. And depending on how this fight goes, his life is gonna be dramatically different.
I could get on board with this if Anakin's relationship to Qui-Gon was somewhat relevant in the following two films, but it isn't. Qui-Gon is only ever mentioned twice in the rest of the trilogy, and neither time does it have anything to do with Anakin. So in my book, Obi-Wan should have went to Mos Espa, not Qui-Gon.
Are you an angel?
What?
An angel.
angel.
Anakin, oh, Anakin, oh, Anakin. I told myself I would be a bit more original in my critiques of this movie. I'm not gonna act like I'm the first person to suggest that Anakin shouldn't have been a kid in this movie, but it's a sentiment I totally agree with. When I think about something I would change about any movie, I ask myself how the current way benefits the story as opposed to my change. And I don't know how Anakin being a kid benefits this story. For one, you don't get Hayden Christensen for 3 movies, you only get him for 2, but most importantly, Anakin being a kid makes his relationship with Padme weird. If you age up Anakin here and set Attack of the Clones like 4 years after the Phantom Menace, nothing changes at all. It probably would make the story better because you can build chemistry between Anakin and Padme far better if you were consistent with the actors. So yeah, not a fan of Anakin being 9 years old here.
You're a slave? I'm a person and my name is Anakin.
I'm sorry.
I get where George Lucas is coming from, but the acting just doesn't do it. I'm not here to shit on Jake Lloyd, but he just doesn't sell it. I will say this though, I appreciate George Lucas trying to, build his character. In one conversation between Anakin and Padme, we learn more about Anakin than we have in 32 minutes of Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. Anakin's the heart of this movie, so I'm glad Lucas put in the effort to flesh him out. Even the line, "I'm a person and my name is Anakin," is a pretty powerful line. It says a lot about the way Anakin sees himself. It's unfortunate that it had to be memed because the acting, but I can look past it because I see what Lucas was going for and I like it. I'm sorry, but why was Jar Jar brought on this mission? I get Padme wanted to go, but Jar Jar is a huge distraction. Maybe Qui-Gon had a vision of the future of Jar Jar doing this to Naboo ships. And yes, that was me like 3 years ago. I just really needed an excuse to show that clip in this video.
Credits will do fine.
No, they won't.
Ugh, I get so angry. We've seen numerous times in this movie how Qui-Gon has very questionable morals. He mind-tricked Boss Nass, he tried to mind-trick Watto, and he even cheated with the dice. I love this aspect of Qui-Gon. That he's different from other Jedi. I just wish they did a little more with it, I don't really have an idea as to what though.
No again. The beans hereabouts? Crazy. We shall be robbed and crunched.
Listen, I love Jar Jar, but half the time I have no clue what he's saying. I've listened to this clip 3 times in a row trying to understand what he's saying. I literally had to turn on captions to even remotely decipher what he's saying.
No again. The beans hereabouts? Crazy. We shall be robbed and crunched.
Like, oh my god, George couldn't have thought of something more clear?
Ouch!
Hey look, it's Quinlan Vos from the Clone Wars.
Come on, I'll take you to my place.
Nitpick incoming. I was once a little boy like Anakin, but I was told many times by my parents not to talk to strangers, don't go into their vans if they offer you candy, and especially don't give them your address. I get it, it's a movie, but seeing Anakin invite strangers into his home, especially an old man, always just seemed weird to me. You could argue he saw Qui-Gon's lightsaber, and that's what sparked Anakin to invite them. But what if Qui-Gon killed a Jedi and stole his lightsaber? Qui-Gon himself even says this later on. Again, this doesn't really negatively affect my view of the movie. I'm just sharing my thoughts. Hey, that looks like Maz Kanata.
How might I serve you?
He's perfect.
Oh.
Anakin building C-3PO is the dumbest thing ever. It makes the universe smaller, it's cheap fan service, and it literally serves no purpose in the story. Why did C-3PO have to be in this movie? I guess George wanted the audience to see that Anakin is a good mechanic. C-3PO just has no purpose in this story, and his presence is so forced. And sorry, sequel haters, I need to bring this up. People called Rey a Mary Sue because she could fly the Millennium Falcon, but Anakin is a 9-year-old slave who is able to build a protocol droid. I know, I'm sorry, this isn't a sequel video. I just needed to say it.
You must contact me.
It's a trick. Send no reply.
This scene emphasizes the importance of show, don't tell. This guy, C.O. Bibble,
Invasion.
tells us that people are dying and the Queen must contact them. But not once are we shown that people are dying. And by people, I mean like civilians. We do not once see Naboo in any remote state of crisis. When the Trade Federation invades, the city looks fine. And when we get back to the city, it looks fine. Just a few seconds of people thrown into concentration camps, or droids harassing civilians, or the Trade Federation destroying buildings goes a long way. It adds urgency to the movie because we see the harm the Trade Federation is doing, and our main characters need to hurry up so they can go back and save Naboo. Like in Star Wars Rebels, when the Ghost crew returns back to Lothal, it's clear that the Empire is doing significant damage to the planet. It doesn't need to be that extreme, but seeing Naboo turn into something like this is such a good idea. But all we see is one guy telling us people are dying. This is a poor narrative choice from George. Oh, Coruscant. The imagination of George Lucas is on full display here, and I love it. Although in this movie the graphics do look dated, especially compared to Revenge of the Sith.
Erase parts. Don't do that again.
This is what I call being tone deaf. There's a conversation going on that's relatively serious, and then Jar Jar here is just being Jar Jar for comedic relief. Honestly, most of the Star Wars movies and all of the Marvel movies fall victim to this, and I hate it. If there's something serious going on, don't insert a joke. That's what we call bathos, and I hate bathos.
I saw your laser sword. Only Jedis carry that kind of weapon.
This is such a small detail, but I kinda appreciated how Anakin said Jedis instead of Jedi, which is the proper plural form of Jedi. George Lucas definitely knows this, but he just wanted a 9-year-old to be grammatically incorrect, and I like that.
Mom, you say the biggest problem in this universe is nobody helps each other.
A little bit of a side rant that doesn't have to do with the Phantom Menace per se. I wish The Rise of Skywalker capitalized on connecting to this line. Anakin says that the biggest problem in the galaxy is that no one helps each other, but at the end of The Rise of Skywalker, the galaxy shows up to help the Resistance. I wish the movie somewhat acknowledged this. Now, of course, since all the people in this scene are dead by The Rise of Skywalker, you can't have someone simply reference Anakin's line. But if, say, Poe or Finn just repeated the same line, I think it would have gotten the point across that the film was trying to bookend the Star Wars franchise. The Skywalker saga began with people not helping each other, and it ended with the galaxy helping those in need. The parallel still stands. I just wish the movie somewhat emphasized that point.
Either way, you win.
Again, I love this aspect of Qui-Gon. He's literally gambling the Queen's ship and all of her supplies without her permission. A dick move, but I like that about Qui-Gon. I still wish Obi-Wan was here, not Qui-Gon, but I've made peace with that.
Who was his father?
There was no father.
Ugh. Anakin is space Jesus. I absolutely hate Anakin being the chosen one. It's a trope that is overplayed, and I wish it was never in Star Wars. I guess I don't so much hate him being the chosen one as I do the prophecy that comes with it. He will destroy the Sith and bring balance to the Force. Why is Qui-Gon concerned about this prophecy if the Sith have been gone for millennia? Also, ignoring the sequels, say Anakin does destroy the Sith, like he does in Return of the Jedi. What's stopping other Sith factions from forming? Couldn't anyone just simply turn to the dark side and revive the Sith? Does there have to be a certain ritual that allows someone to be a Sith? Do the former Sith have to acknowledge other people as Sith in order for them to be Sith? Isn't this what happened in Star Wars Legends after Return of the Jedi anyway? I've always hated the notion that Anakin was destined to destroy the Sith. In the original trilogy, when Vader kills the Emperor, he did so because he was protecting his son. There was no prophecy, there was no chosen one, there was just a father loving his son. This scene is still the thematic climax of the original trilogy without the prophecy of the chosen one. Then the prequels came along and had to add context to this scene. It wasn't simply Anakin saving his son, it was now Anakin fulfilling his destiny. I just don't like this. And if Anakin supposedly destroyed the Sith in Return of the Jedi, that means it doesn't matter what happens afterwards, you can't have the Sith around. It handicaps the potential of a new era of Star Wars. And you know what happened? The sequels came out, Palpatine returned, and people started saying Return of the Jedi was ruined because Anakin supposedly never fulfilled the prophecy. I'm not saying that I liked Palpatine's return in that movie, but even before Episode 7 came out, I had a feeling that people would complain about this, and it turns out I was right. If Anakin was just a normal kid who happened to be really powerful with the Force, then nothing in the rest of the prequels really changed. Is the prophecy really that important to the story of the prequels? I don't think so. Palpatine grooms Anakin because he's really strong with the Force, not just because because he's the chosen one. And then the exact same story plays out. I hate the chosen one prophecy. I always will, but it is what it is.
Oh no, you're okay, Annie.
I don't know why, but seeing this Rodian giggle was just hilarious.
I need a midichlorian count.
Midichlorians. I'm gonna save that rant for when Qui-Gon actually explains what midichlorians are to Anakin. Another tangent here, but I have so much nostalgia for the Lego set of this ship. I think it was this one. I was so excited when I got my first Lego Darth Maul, and it was from this Lego set. Again, say what you will about this movie and the rest of the prequels, but George Lucas knows how to make his movie resonate with children. And this memory of mine is just further proof of that. Qui-Gon's a scummy cheater. I love it.
You've never won a race?
Well, not exactly.
Not even finished?
Oh, you better be joking.
Click on the link here to watch Overanalyzing Star Wars The Phantom Menace Part 3. If you don't see the link, the video hasn't come out yet. Thank you everyone so much for watching another one of my videos. Don't forget to unite the Cloud Squad, and I will see you guys next time.